hello everyone. This is a brief video to help you construct your first legal brief. So the good news here is that this is just simply a tool to help you remember the cases. Now, College Board has 14 cases that you need to be familiar with this year. Now, this is the first of 14, so you're going to be a little bit uncomfortable with it, but by the second or third brief that you write, you're going to have this down, and you're going to be able to shape it to exactly what will help you best. So at the end of the day, this is not a scholarly legal brief. You can adjust as you need to and include the things that you think will help you remember the case. Now, what College Board is going to do with these 14 cases is you could have a multiple choice question as one of the 55 that you get at the first part of our test. The second part of our test are 4 FRQs, and one of those FRQs is designated as the Supreme Court comparison case. And so what they're going to do is they're going to take one of the 14 cases you've studied, and then they're going to select a case nobody has ever heard of. And they're going to ask you to compare and contrast that case to this case that you're unfamiliar with. So they're going to check to see if you know constitutional issues, etc. And so your score will be based on that. Now, more good news is that the AMSCO text has done most of the heavy lifting here. So on the screen behind me are 3 official sources that you can utilize, AMSCO being your first stop. The second one will be the National Constitution Center. They, along with the Bill of Rights Institute, are official partners of College Board and produce materials that coincide with the learning objectives that we're going to be focusing on. So at the end of the day, you're not plagiarizing what these sources are using. You're just taking what they've done in terms of the heavy lifting, and then you're producing your own product in your own words. And so that is the legal brief that you're going to be working on. So each of these 14 cases we've looked at, the Supreme Court is establishing a new precedent that has gone through the tiered system that you can see behind me here. Now, with the legal brief, there are many ways to do this, and I'm going to show you one. This is the most basic, simple. If you think you're going to be a future lawyer or you get into this, you can make yours more complicated, but this represents really the basic elements. So with the very beginning, the legal brief is going to begin with the title. You're going to center that in the middle, and most of these will be handwritten, and unfortunately we're having to do that now because of ChatGPT, but you will center the court name at the top of your legal brief, and in between will be the letter V. It's not versus, it's not a sporting event, so it will be Smith v. Jones, for example. But what you're doing there is you are listing the litigants in a particular order. So when we talk about litigants, someone who is initiating a case, they are referred to as the plaintiff. They are bringing charges. So sometimes it can be the government bringing charges against you. When you are defending yourself, very often you're referred to as the defendant or the respondent, and you're responding to these charges that have been initiated by the petitioner. So when we look at court cases, those are 2 terms that will help you navigate facts of the case. So as we start to look at the first section, which is known as facts of the case, let's start with the most important point. You are not going to be able to get in all the detail that you want. Simply deliver the basic facts. All right, you should be able to do this in a paragraph. The more you know the case, the more you can record the facts, the better, but don't feel like you're writing a half-page section of facts. That would be too many. Now, what you should do, and I found this very helpful for students over the years, is the very first sentence in the facts section, go ahead and write a 1-sentence summary of what this case is about. So for example, in New York Times v. US, this is a classic First Amendment, freedom of the press case versus national security issues. So if you wanted to summarize the case in that respect, you could do that, and that tells you what the case is about. Some students choose to do that after they're done with everything, but you can make your own decision about that. Now, the next section is the constitutional issue. And when we look at the constitutional issue, the good news here for you is this is just one sentence. Now, the key here is the sentence has to be a yes or no answerable question. And so that brings us to, for example, this case that we're looking at, New York Times v. US. If you would like to freeze the video, this is what you would find in AMSCO. So I've utilized what you already have in your possession if you'd like to take a look at that. Now, remember, put it in your own words. That synthesis is going to be the key for helping you remember. But as we move on to the next section, it's decision, and this isn't even a sentence. All right, you're just reporting how the court ruled. Now, a couple notes here. If the court rules unanimously, 9-0, you might want to note that because that's the court making a strong point. Likewise, if it's 5-4, that means the Supreme Court is split. So it's a controversial decision, something that could be reversed in the future. Now, this last section, the rationale. This is the challenging part because what you need to do here is read through both majority and minority opinions. What that means is the winning side, the judges are going to vote. The majority is going to be setting the precedent. They then are going to explain the rationale for that decision. Your job is to try to summarize what they're saying. Likewise, summarizing the minority opinion, the dissenting opinion, will help you understand the rationale, the reasoning for the losing side, which sometimes ends up getting reversed and becomes the precedent that we have. So rationale is going to be the longest section. It will take you a while to try to summarize what the court is trying to say. There are hints on the screen behind me. You can freeze and take a look if you would like. But that is a quick run through on a legal brief. Hopefully that helps.